Hello, guys. Today it's a very special episode. It's our 10th episode, and Emmy let me knew that today. I didn't know that before she came today. Hi, Emmy. I'm so
Hi,
grateful to have you
hi
today.
Sharif. I am very grateful.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. So, today I want to talk about emotions and your journey because your journey is so interesting for me,
Thank you.
and I believe it's going to be so interesting for others to hear. You're not from Egypt. You're not from the
Oh,
Arab.
really? How can
Yeah.
you tell?
Nothing in you tells me that you're not from Egypt. Actually, you look like you're not from the Arab world at all. But we have some people in the Arab world that are blondes too. But even
Yeah.
you look like the European blondes.
Yeah.
You
fair
when,
enough.
when I asked you where you're from, you asked me to guess, and I guessed it like the continent was right. Maybe it was from Europe. Yeah. So where are you from first? Let me tell you.
I'm from France.
You're from France.
Yes.
Amazing, amazing. So tell us about your journey in the Arab world and how did it affect your emotions, your growth? How did you feel through your journey, and how do you feel now, different from the beginning of your journey or the start of your journey? For sure, there's a big difference.
قدامنا ساعتين ممكن؟
قدامنا كتير زي ما انت عايزة زي ما انت عايزة.
تمام. بص أنا اسمي إيمي بلاشي، أنا في الثلاثينات، أصلا من فرنسا.
اوكي
بقالي في مصر تقريبا سنة.
اوكي
أنا فريلانسر في الكوميونيكيشنز، يعني أنا بنشئ استراتيجية التواصل للأفراد والشركات.
amazing.
وبرضه بكتب محتوى وبعمل فيديوهات. أنا بنبسط في الشغل ده جدا.
Yes.
وبرضه عندي بودكاست اسمه Orient Expressed.
Wow.
وهو
Impressive.
عبارة عن مقابلات مع فنانين ملهمين من العالم العربي عشان بحب الفن. ودلوقتي بشتغل على الموسم الثاني في البودكاست وكتاب برضه عن الصحة النفسية.
يعني makes it like a book full of everything we want, guys.
Exactly.
Yes.
No, it's that's why I said, do we have a couple of hours? Because the conversation can. يعني,
Yes,
I
please,
feel
please
it's
let
very
it flow. We would love to know, please.
So maybe I'll start with the story of how I came to Egypt,
Please
so
do.
we can understand like the process of emotions, etc.
Yes.
So I don't have any roots in the Arab world. Like my parents are not from the Arab world at all, or my grandparents.
Okay.
But I've had a passion for the Arab world since I'm very little. I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And I remember very well when I realized it. I was at school. I was maybe 8 years old, and I had a history book where I could see for the first time the pyramids and the hieroglyphics.
Wow.
And from that time, I don't know, something happened, and I was like, I wish I could see it with my own eyes one day.
That's something very important actually to
Yeah.
highlight. This is what we call the soul calling, or like your soul trying to tell you about the future because it
Yes.
knows the future, and there is.
You know Paolo Coelho, the Alchemist, right?
Of course, yeah.
This is, I think, the personal legend that he's talking about in the Alchemist. That
Yeah.
was like the first step towards the personal legend. But, you know, it takes many years.
Yes, it
And
does.
this is when I started being really interested in the Arab world when I was little, but I didn't have the chance to learn the language because I was born in a very small city
Yeah.
and Arabic was not available to learn. So I learned other languages, English, Spanish, and then Italian, but
Yeah.
Arabic, I forgot about it because it wasn't available.
Yeah.
So fast forward to when I was in my mid-20s, I settled in Switzerland to start working. And this is when I remembered, I think I wanted to learn Arabic. So now that I'm in Geneva, which is an international city, maybe I will have an opportunity and I
Yeah.
will find a place to learn.
Yeah.
So alhamdulillah, I found a place and they were giving Fusha classes.
Okay.
So classical Arabic. So this is what I started with.
Yeah.
And soon I realized that Fusha was not taking me anywhere, talking to people when I was traveling.
Yeah.
So this is when I started learning Shami. online mostly because I was working full time and I was living in Switzerland.
Yeah.
So.
But do you think, sorry to interrupt you, but do you think Fusha is not the best base for the Arabic language?
Was the best base, and I'm so happy I started with it because it gave me vocabulary.
It is the right base.
Yes.
You don't need the conversational first when you're learning, you need the base.
Absolutely, but I was frustrated that I couldn't connect with
people. Of course,
people
I understand.
away.
This is the emotion. This is the emotion in it. Like when you're like, okay, I don't see the good in it right now, so I want now is now.
Right now.
I want it right now. Yeah. Okay.
So mostly learning online, and then I practiced with friends. But all of these years, of course, I was working, I was developing my skills, but I was still frustrated that I wasn't making, first of all, progress in the language. Yeah. And second of all, I was not experiencing the culture firsthand that I was really interested in. Yeah. Because with my Arabic classes, I was learning about calligraphy, about the literature, about poetry, about art, of course, about architecture, and I love Islamic architecture. And I was dreaming to be able to see it every day when I was walking in the street, or at least twice a week. Wow. And somehow I couldn't find a job that was taking me to these places or to this route. Yeah. So after many years of working, I decided to take a leap of faith and leave my life that was in Switzerland.
The leap of faith.
Yeah.
The leap of faith. This leap of faith should be highlighted.
The crazy leap, however you want to call it.
This is when you fly. The leap always, you don't fall. You just fly. You think you're going to fall.
Maybe you can crash a few times, but you will learn to fly.
Exactly. You will learn to fly. Exactly. Which is worth it.
Yeah. So that's when I decided, okay, where am I going to go? So I had a few countries that I really wanted to go to, but I mean, because of war and economic circumstances, some of them were not available. So I had Egyptian friends, and I asked them about this idea of coming and living in Egypt, and they were like, Emmy, are you sure?
Or
you
maybe
want to come to Egypt?
Are you sure that they told you, are you sure? Or did they tell you something else that you don't want to say now?
Are you sure? Because you're living in one of the most amazing places in the world that all of us would like to live in.
Exactly.
And I understood theoretically what they were saying, but something inside me was like, you should go, you should try. Yeah. So I came about 1 year ago. Yeah. And coming here, I didn't want to have the Orientalist view of Egypt, like from a colonial perspective and from a European perspective, and thinking that every place in Cairo looks like Garden City or Zamalek. Yeah. I really, really tried to be open to many things and not judge.
I respect that, yeah.
And that was enriching, and I took...
this will allow you to absorb way more.
Yeah,
whenever you don't judge, whenever you are open to receive more and know more, you just receive more. Yeah.
So I took 3-month intensive classes of Masri and Fusha, and that really helped me not only getting the dialect, because of course with Shami, I mean, people understand that they laugh at me when I speak.
Because it's not usual
I really wanted to speak the language.
It's not very usual that people speak the Shami accent here in Egypt.
Yes.
So, and you're not you don't look Shami, and you're speaking Shami in Egypt. So it's it's a lot of randomness in the place,
That's too much.
That's too much. Yeah.
So I'm really grateful to my teachers, Egyptian teachers, who introduced me to cinema and mahraganat and all the cultural aspects that then I could talk to people to or understand.
Perfect.
And also, this may be another topic, but I discovered Alsh here, and I love Alsh.
You discovered Alsh?
Yeah.
Do I get it right?
Yes.
Do you mean Alsh that I know and he knows behind the camera? Yeah. Okay, so you know what's Alsh?
Yeah.
So you know when someone is English.
Yes, puns.
Oh God, that's so good.
I would do it.
You're the first foreigner, and I met a lot, that understand this Egyptian word.
No, I'll tell you a funny one. I was I was in a taxi one day, and there's this huge building that has a big advertisement. You know, the French four-color pen.
Yeah.
And I saw this, and I was like, "Ahlan bik," like with. Sorry.
No, this is, you shouldn't be sorry.
So yeah, no, I love the way that
Ahlan
people
bik.
play with language.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
language.
Alchemist.
With the sounds, etc. So anyway,
That was fun. Yeah.
long story short.
Yeah.
These 3 months were very useful, and I felt like, halas, I've adapted, and I can start my life in Egypt and whatever.
Yeah.
But when I stopped these classes, I came back to the real world, which was, okay, I left my life in Europe, I finished my classes, so now, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I think the reality started kicking in the sense that, for me, the reason why I'm learning languages is because I've always been interested in people and understanding them and being in their shoes. And as much as I speak the language and I know the culture, still people will not treat me in the same way they treat people from their own
locals,
culture.
maybe. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I had this very naive idea that if I would study and understand and speak, then I would blend in like seamlessly.
Yeah.
But no, that didn't really happen that way.
We're Egyptians. Come on.
Which was, I mean, it happens everywhere, but I don't know, here, maybe it's because of my the time in my life I'm in, but I felt very foreign. That was the first time I felt so foreign and so estranged.
Yeah.
And that came as a bit of a shock.
Of course.
So yeah, that really affected me, I think, emotionally. And also, sorry, I'm getting emotional.
Please do. We're all about releasing the emotions
Okay, do
here.
you have tissues?
The more you process, I do. I'll bring you tissues, yeah.
No, I was going to say that also the reality of me leaving my previous life kicked in, and at times I felt like an uprooted tree.
Wow. Fun.
That, of course, it was a new country, new culture, new people, new schedule, and I chose this life. I put myself in that situation, but at the same time, it makes me feel really...
Makes it more fearful, actually.
Yes, so it was hard for me to navigate these contradictory feelings.
Yeah.
So that's, like the self-work, I've started doing it a few years ago, but this period of time last year, when I had all of these heavy feelings and being a bit confused about what I was doing, did I make the right choice coming here, like what am I going to do? I think this pushed me into looking deeper inside and continuing the self-work that I was doing before.
Impressive.
But in a more intensive
That's how the universe speaks to us.
The universe was like, you started the work, now you finish it.
yeah. That's love. That's how the universe loves us. It's worth it though. Yeah. And you know, like the fact that you're sharing this with us now, because it's so good, because Egypt is a country where lots of foreign people would feel connected to it and would really want to experience Egypt somehow, maybe live for some time, maybe stay for a long vacation, I don't know. So you're like helping them now by telling or by sharing this story with us, honestly, which is like good. That's great.
I really want, I think what I want to say is the experience is worth it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And probably when you're experiencing these deep negative feelings, you feel like you will never get out of them.
Yeah.
And it feels like a black hole that is like quicksands, that is just absorbing you, and you will never get out of it.
Yeah.
And
how do you think you get out of this place if you are at, because you had this experience with this scenario of Egypt in it, or the Arab world in it, so, and you did the work and you studied the language and you blended it, and then you were in this, at this square, standing on a very shaky ground where you feel like, oh, I'm in the wrong place, doing the wrong things, and I chose this.
Yeah.
So this was a big hit. Yeah. So where did it take you? Like, where did you look? Where did you look? I think you had to look inside of yourself,
Yeah.
which you just said now. You had to, because usually when this is happening, it's the universe trying to tell you, please match the vibration of the coming events, because the coming events are good.
Yeah.
What's coming to you is good. You're doing growth work, so you're actually attracting good stuff. But you need to match this frequency from inside too. So now it's time for self work. Yeah. So that's
Yeah.
when everything is closed outside. Yeah. So yeah, that's
You were
it.
mentioning shaky grounds. It reminded me of the saying that, when it's raining on you, you should dance in the rain.
Yeah,
So when
very
the ground
true.
is shaking, maybe you should dance with the ground.
So true. Yeah, that's very, very true. Yeah.
There's one key word, I think, for me this year at least, it's faith.
Wow.
And
Great.
the thing that will help you get out of this black hole, or at least stay in this black hole and not sink until you manage to get out of it, is faith.
Totally.
And people have
I
faith
totally
in different
agree.
things. People have faith in God, in destiny, in tomorrow,
Yeah.
in having a good day, in meeting a good person, in doing
Yeah.
something good during
Yeah.
the day that will help other people.
What do you think if we say, people, please make this faith in yourselves? Like, have this faith in your own self to the
Maybe
extent.
it takes time to have it in your own self. Maybe you can practice having it in something external
Yeah.
until you manage to build it in yourself.
Yeah, like have the faith, or whatever created you, to that you are fine,
Yeah.
and you're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
If you can have this kind of faith, you're out. You're out in the right way.
But it's
You're out of the trap.
faith is I think it's a construction. It's a lot of practice, and it's a lot
Completely agree.
of you going through difficult times as well. I
True.
think.
That's very true.
And because like I was born in a Christian family,
Yeah.
and I was born with a certain faith
Yeah.
that was inherited.
Yeah.
But it's not until I started my own life and asking myself questions that I kind of developed my own faith
Yeah.
and my own growth.
Yeah.
So that's why I think potentially depending on the phase you are in life, you will have faith in different things.
Yeah, but faith starts with questioning. You have to question to reach faith.
Yeah.
If you didn't question, then you're not faithful, or you don't believe in the thing.
Yeah.
You're programmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking about this keyword programming, like, how was it hard for you? Because being like growing up and being raised up in a European family, and in Europe, growing up in Europe, is a different way of programming for the subconscious and the unconscious mind than anywhere in the Arab world. So rewiring your brain to be able to keep up with whatever is happening. Like, for example, I believe your brain was wired to see more organized stuff. Buildings, streets, supermarkets, whatever, yeah? And now your eyes are always seeing more messy stuff. So now your brain is rewired. The more you see of the messy stuff, the more you're like, how did it affect you? Like, I'm just giving a small example.
I
Like, how did
understand.
it affect you?
Of course, it was confusing at first, and it was a shock.
Yeah.
Taking everything in. I did not think it would take me almost a year to process and to get used to things and feeling comfortable.
Yeah.
But actually, experiencing something else that you've been programmed is enriching.
Yeah.
Meaning it's like learning a new language.
Yeah.
It widens your mind and your way of thinking, and I really, really like it. When you are able to take it, then you will experience it and connect in new ways with people.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing to know this. Okay, okay, in the Arab world, the mentality about men and women, masculine, feminine, is very different. You're a very radiant, beautiful lady. So
Thank you.
you're my pleasure. So tell me about this. How did the men treat you in the Arab world? How did you feel about them? Do you have like a generalized emotion or like a feeling or like view of them, or like you see them just like any other man in the world, like or all the other men in the world, they're just men?
I really don't like stereotypes, and
Yeah.
also one of the reasons why I travel and live in different countries is to know people and to beat some kind of the stereotypes.
True.
Of course, I mean, culture-wise, men are different here than in Europe. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily in a bad way. What
Yeah.
I've discovered here is, let's say that in Europe we have a very heavy trend of hard feminism.
All right.
That is, I will do everything by myself, I will open my own door, I will pay for my own things,
Yeah.
and etc.
Yeah.
Which is fine to a certain point,
Yeah.
but I think we forget that, especially in relationships, there is some kind of care that the man needs to provide for you.
That's true.
And this somehow I forgot
Yeah. Yeah.
when I was in Europe. I
Yeah.
was so into equality, and especially when you work, you want to advance in your career,
Yeah.
and you have to toughen up as a woman.
True.
So you do tend to go to this tendency of doing everything yourself and not depending on anyone,
Yeah.
which is fine to a certain point.
Yeah.
But it's not serving you in relationships. And
Yeah.
this is what I realized.
Yeah.
And coming to Egypt, I witnessed that men really take care of women in a way that I haven't seen much in Europe.
Okay.
And of course, there are many negative things, but
Yeah.
I will talk about this one that really surprised me and that made me realize that you do need to accept, actually,
True.
the gift that is given to you,
Yeah.
because you deserve it and because you will do other things
Masculinity provides.
in reverse.
Of
Yes,
course, it's
exactly.
energy. It's in the energy. It's not even in the cultures or like in the belief systems or religions or whatever. It's in the energy, and
Yeah.
energy is the
In the
source of
DNA.
everything. Even it's the source of the DNA, the energy. So the energy of the masculinity has to provide. That's how the yin and yang are balanced. Without this, there is a misbalance.
Yeah, there's a
usually.
misbalance,
Yeah.
and many
Yeah.
relationships end up like with misunderstandings, and
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's why in the Arab world you might find the problems here are more tilting towards the over control, because when the masculinity gets too high and the femininity, look, I'm a man, I have a masculine and a feminine energy. So if my masculine energy and feminine energy are balanced for a man, I will provide, but I will not try to control anyone.
Yeah.
So
Because
but
you're in touch with your feminine side.
because I
as well,
have
and
my
you're not
feminine
ashamed of it.
energy too, which is more containing and more accepting and more receiving. So if my masculinity is too up and my femininity is too down, and that's usually happens from traumas in the childhood, by the way.
Yeah, and the way you're educated and the way you see your parents interact
True.
with each other.
It's how you perceive your parents, and if you forgave them or not. I don't care if you're dealing with them or not, but if you forgave them or not,
Yeah.
this is what balances back your masculine feminine energy. So if your feminine energy is too low as a man, you will be too controlling, maybe too violent, maybe too criminal at the end of the
Yeah.
day. And if your feminine energy is too high and your masculinity is too low, you will wait for the woman to provide for you and stuff like that. So yeah, thank you for raising this point. So you see the men here are more like, let's say they have this higher masculine energy. Can you say it like this, or it's not, doesn't resonate with it with the masculine energy?
Yeah, or they do care.
Yeah.
in a material way more
Yeah.
than what I've seen before.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know. That's good to know. So let me ask you about your daily life. Your daily life in Europe was so different than in here, like in Cairo or in
Yes,
Egypt or any other
sure.
word.
Yeah.
Is it better? Is it like different, not better or worse? Is it like for you, you feel it's healthier, it's more psychologically balanced for you, or like less? What do you
I
think?
think the rhythm I have now is more suited to what I'm looking for.
Perfect.
I'm grateful for the years I've spent working in Switzerland. It allowed me to learn many things and like get to know the corporate world and how it works. But I'm always looking for challenges, and it felt like I had come to the end of what I could learn being in Switzerland. So that's why I decided, خلاص, let's throw you yourself in something different.
Yeah.
And here I can like learn new Masri words every day. I can.
And you have a very good accent, by the way.
Thank you.
And that's a thing, because it's usually, if you're French, it's not easy to speak Egyptian because the accents are so different. Like I believe when you are like your mother tongue is French and then you speak English, then it's a bit you will have a bit of an accent.
I can speak
but
with
you
a
don't.
French accent if you want, Sheriff.
Yeah. Exactly. But if you are trying to speak Egyptian with this good accent, that's how did you reach that? Is it like
I think if you have a musical ear, it will help you a lot with languages.
True.
And I've been studying music since I'm very little, and I really like it.
True.
And I think this helps with the rhythm, with the sounds, and the pronunciation.
Amazing.
That's an edge, I would
Yeah,
say.
yeah, that's an edge. Of course, it gives you an edge. Yeah, it's like because when you hear, like your brain is absorbing signals and translating. So.
And it's also being exposed to it, like listening to the radio, listening to my friends. You will try to copy or imitate the way they speak, or I was just talking to my friend earlier about the filler words that you have in Masri, like ba'a.
Ba'a, yes.
So now that I hear a lot of my friends say it, now I know, like, it will come to me like, ba'a. Oh, I said it! Okay. I saw this reel for you. It was a very cool one. You were talking about this experience on a bike ride going from somewhere in Egypt, and this guy, the Uber scooter, Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and the guy was, you told him براحتك instead of بالراحة. Yeah?
Because I was so stressed, and I knew there was a word to say slow down with raha in it.
Yeah.
And when he asked me, are you okay? Is the speed okay? I was like, براحتك. And then he sped up, and I was like, what's going on? What did I say? And then I was like, oh no, I messed up. What is the right word? And then I remembered, but I was already super scared.
Yeah.
But yeah, براحة.
بالراحة مش براحتك.
And I'm so grateful because people commented, and some people said you could also say بشويش.
بشويش على مهلك.
أيوة.
اهدى شوية.
So
شوية.
Even you can. Now I know the ways, but at the time I was.
It's great. You were close. براحتك is very close to بالراحة.
The meeting was really far away.
براحتك is so close. Yeah, they're the opposite actually. Like this is like do whatever you want.
Whatever you like. Of course, he's gonna want to speed up.
Yeah, of course. So, how safe is Egypt? Speaking about feelings and scary and not scary, how safe is Egypt? How do you think? Because your perception is very important. You're a foreigner who's loving the culture, loving the country, loving the language, speaking the language.
The whole range of experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
Look, the first time I came to Egypt was about 8 years ago.
Okay.
And I didn't feel good when I came here.
Okay.
I don't know why, but I didn't feel safe in the street, and I was with a friend of mine who's even blonder than I am. And we were walking in the streets in Talat Harb and things like that, and we would hear people like men talk to us and follow us, and it was really not a very good experience.
Yeah.
So I was a bit worried about that when I came here.
Yeah.
But it changed. I mean, or maybe I'm older and they don't care anymore.
No, I don't believe it's related. Age is just a number, and I don't believe it's related.
No,
Yeah.
really, it changed. And I was telling my friend earlier that when I am in Paris, I'm really worried about my safety, about harassment, about people like pickpockets.
Yeah.
And in Egypt, I was behaving in the same way. I would grab onto my bag, especially in the metro, and just be very careful.
Yeah.
But I realized that although me being Khawagaya gives me a lot of disadvantages, being Khawagaya, I feel so more protected, I guess, by the police, and I really don't have an issue. Like, I feel really safe, alhamdulillah, when I'm here. And that really makes me feel like, okay, I can stay longer in Egypt because I don't have this issue.
Of course, yeah. It's amazing to know this, exactly. Egypt was always safe. Now it's safer than, way safer than 8 years ago. Because it's like, foreigners are coming more, tourism is getting better. And literally it's people are getting more used to dealing with foreigners. I feel that they're getting more used to seeing foreigners moving, walking in the streets.
Maybe getting used to seeing them more.
Yeah.
And not being so.
Yeah, like, what is this? What's happening? Exactly. Like last time.
We're not superwomen or supermen. We're just coming from a different place.
Last time I was in Luxor. Literally, this was happening. I went to El Karnak temple, and there were these schoolgirls, Egyptian, going, like, standing in a line to take photos with the foreigners. So it was like, the foreigners are coming to take photos with the pharaohs, and the kids are coming photos with the foreigners. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
But sometimes they do it in a cute way. If
they are very cute. They are very cute.
Way, I don't have an
they are very cute, but I mean, it's something for them, like, that's amazing to see, or like, out of the ordinary, not the usual. So that's why. But now it's becoming more and more usual to see foreigners in Egypt. So that's great. So anything else you want to share? Anything else you feel like sharing? Any advice you want to say for anybody who's walking your steps?
Maybe I can share that when I came here, I really wanted to dive in and learn fast. So I made a conscious choice to hang out with Egyptians more than expats. So that really helped me indeed. But that also had the effect that I felt very disconnected because I was not in touch with who I was originally.
Yeah.
So I would say, do mix with people your own nationality as well. Like, don't think it's all black and white.
Yeah.
Because it can really cause a shock and many kind of confusion. But do mix with Egyptians a lot, but do keep a part of yourself and part of your roots because it helps you stay grounded.
Yes, I totally agree. Because in any big step you're doing, you have to hold space for all the different versions of you that are in you, and you will never be able to kill any version of them. So you will have to hold space for all of them and give them all love. That's how we grow. If you feel like, okay, I'm gonna completely ditch my old self and just be a completely new self, and no, you can't do that.
We're not a computer. You cannot just erase the hard drive.
You can't do that. Exactly. So you have to hold space and let the old self like integrate or like maybe dissolve with time.
I also want to take the opportunity, being in this podcast, to thank all of the Egyptian friends I have.
Amazing.
And the teachers, because they really helped me integrate here, or at least like understand and have a good time, and they helped me also through the bad times, and I wouldn't be here with you today without them.
I'm grateful for them too.
So I'm really grateful. They know who they are.
Yeah.
And maybe I can share a few books that I
Please
read
do.
recently
Please
that
do.
I really like.
Please.
So, of course, The Alchemist from Paolo Coelho. And even for people who have read it already, I would say read it again, because it speaks to you depending on the phase of life you're in.
On the level of consciousness you are at.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and it's an amazing book, and it's really easy to read. Another one that was really good was from Najwa Zebian.
Okay.
She's Lebanese Canadian, I believe. She has she's done podcasts and I think a TED Talk as well. She wrote a book called Welcome Home. And for me, who was out of home,
Welcome home.
Yeah, it was really eye-opening, and I have so many notes from this book.
Okay. It's amazing that you're sharing. Yeah.
She speaks really, really well from personal experience as well. I really like the way she wrote in this book. She really gave a lot of herself. You feel like she opened up a lot.
Yeah.
And the last book I really like is from Brianna Wiest.
Yeah.
And it's called The Mountain Is You.
The Mountain Is You.
Yeah.
I have it here in the room.
There you go.
Yeah. I love this book.
She has many of the
It's all
books,
about
but
self-sabotage and
Exactly.
not
it
self-sabotage.
helps on the path
Yeah.
of growth.
Yeah, you said like amazing books. I love all the books that you said. Honestly, they're all like yes, please. Anybody has the chance to read any of these books should.
And if they're not into books, I'm sure there's audiobooks on
Audible
these
now.
People have done podcasts, or there's always a way to get the insights from them.
Yes. I would love if everybody can always link themselves to something that helps their growth. Even just a very short video can help your growth sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Amy.
Thank you.
I loved having you.
Likewise.
Grateful for having you.
Grateful for your being. That's
Thank
what
you
you
so
say.
much.
I really like this expression.
Grateful for your being. Of course I am. Thank you so much.
Likewise.
And we'll have another podcast maybe soon.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you. Thank you so much.